Pick up your gear and open your chests. Throw on your armor and head out on a quest. Hey, hey, it's a brand new day. On the Sword Coast, your allies will help with blazing bows and magic as well. Hey, hey, heroes on their way. Fighting forever against overwhelming odds. Fighting together in favor of multiple gods. Idle champions of the forgotten realms. Idle champions, adventure never ends. Idle champions, get you all out there. Idle champions, you reset again. Idle champions. From Waterdeep to Icewind Dale, head out to Chull or Shadowfell, hey, hey. Together we stay. Walk to the monsters, walk to the boss, walk to the right, it's never a loss, hey, hey. Bad guys to slay. Fighting forever against overwhelming odds. Fighting together in favor of multiple gods. Idle champions of the forgotten realms. Idle champions, adventure never ends. Idle champions, get you all out there. Idle champions, you will set again. Idle champions.
Hello, champions. I'm Gaarawarr, and this is Gaarawarr's Guide to the Tutorial Show. I come to you live from the frozen north of Icewind Dale. No, I don't. I'm in my room, like I always am. And I'm really hot, so this has got to come down now. Hold on. Oh boy. Oh boy. Hold on, folks. Okay, that's better. That's better. Yes. Today, in Icewind Dale, we are going on a search for Zeraphon, the newest evergreen champion to arrive in Idle Champions, the 91st champion. That's a lot. And as an evergreen, that means you can just unlock them by playing the campaign. So we're going to talk about what it takes to do that. We're going to hop into that mission, and we're going to talk about the challenges you will face there. And then while the mission proceeds in the background, we will talk about Zeraphon themself. Excuse me, themself. They are a non-binary. I keep getting that wrong, but I keep correcting myself because that's the right thing to do. We have Marsh today in the mod pod. So during this first hour, I'm going to be doing lots of talking and explanation. In the second hour, we will do the Q&A. And if you have questions, you can throw them in chat. Mars will grab them. And I will get to them in the second half. Sound good? Okay, hold on, I got to make it a little more comfortable. Hoodies, when you're in a chair, you always got to flip the hood up in the back. You always got to flip the hood up. All right. Let us talk about unlocking Zeraphon. So, as you can see, we are here in the icy wastes of Icewind Dale, the frozen north. The campaign being Icewind Dale, Rime of the Frostmeat. You have to actually play through, like some of the recent evergreens. You need to actually play through this whole twisting, turning track of content all the way here to the end over on the, is it Rejed Glacier? That's what I'm calling it. And work your way all the way. Look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 adventures on this last adventure node. That's a lot, folks. You end up, I believe this is roughly about 20 adventures deep in the campaign. Down here to the Fall of Ythryn. This is the final adventure that you have to complete. Once you complete it, it will unlock 2 variants, one of which is called a lesson in classes. A lesson in classes is the unlock variant for Zeraphon. As you can see down here, yeah, there we go. Now you can see my cursor. The amount of, it's Zeraphon, it's gems, and it's Oral's favor. But you can always tell. It gives you a little thing in the name. Hey, you can unlock them here. So let's talk about this. Right away, I want you to note, unlike a lot of recent variants to unlock evergreens, you do not need to complete an enormous amount of adventure / variants. I know 20, but 20 isn't a lot. Usually you're having to do like 40 or 45 to qualify. So the 20 adventures, and then even more than that in terms of variants. But for this one, for now, for whatever reason, all you have to do is get here. All you have to do is get here, and you get to do it. So that's nice, at least. One of the few nice things about this variant. Complete area 725. This is what we're talking about. This is how far you're going to have to get. You're going to need enough power on your account to complete area 725, in at least in the Fall of Yithrin, right? It's going to be harder over here because if you'll note, there's a red X right there. That always means bad things. That always means we're down a champion. So you need to get to 725 with 9 champions, folks. 9 champions. This is the exact formation layout that you are going to be using. It's the same Icewind Dale formation. It's just they're taking away that one center position here, which honestly, a lot of power comes from this position. Not gonna lie, this is a great position to put champions who like lots of adjacencies, like say Spurt or Avrin, right? To buff and get all kinds of things from with your DPS in a different spot. So losing that is kind of a big deal. Kind of a big deal. All right, let's talk about the restriction list. I want to say a couple of two of these are restrictions. One is they're trying to help you a little bit. We've seen this type of mechanic with like Dragon Bait's unlock, Asoriel's Resolve. You'll remember Dragon Bait joined us on the adventure and actually gave us buffs whenever he was alive, which wasn't very long on the boss fights, but hey, he tried. In this one, the first restriction, Zeraphon joins the formation for this adventure to see what it's like to fight alongside the champions. They don't attack, they're just here to observe. So now we know what that X is. Zeraphon's going to be right there in the middle, and that is an NPC, so they're not really going to count for anything. They're not attacking, they're just there. They're just there. I'm going to jump to the bottom one because it follows up on this. In an attempt to distract and confuse the enemies, Zeraphon transforms into the first enemy who spawns in each area, increasing damage against that type of enemy by 100% for the rest of the area. So, when you load into an area, the very first enemy that comes out, Zeraphon turns into them. How is that? How is that possible, folks? Zeraphon is a doppelganger. So Zeraphon is the doppelganger class in D&D. They can assume the identity and appearance of all kinds of things and pretend to be them. So that is what is going to happen here. And that is what's going to happen when you finally get Zeraphon in your formation as an actual champion. And we'll talk about that in a bit. So in this case, they're just going to give you 100% bonus. It's not... I think by now, by the time you get to the end of Icewind Dale and unlock Zeraphon, you should know that's not a whole lot. But, it's better than a wet blanket on a cold night, right? So they are trying to help a little bit. Now we get to the biggest restriction, the one that's arguably going to be causing you the most problems in this. Potentially. Here's the thing. After I read it, you'll understand that some people will have a problem with this and some people won't. This is part of unlocking an evergreen 5 campaigns deep in this game. Only one champion of each class can be included in the formation at any time. Multi-class champions count for all of their classes. Zeraphon does not have a class for this variant. So, if you have someone who is a rogue bard, well, that just ticked off the rogue and the bard boxes, and now you can't add any more rogues or any more bards. So that one champion better be doing the work of two. Ultimately, they need to be worth ticking off two of those boxes. So you have to field at least nine different classes in this. And this is what I said. Some people are gonna have a problem with this, and some people aren't. If you have proverbially raced through this game to get through all of the evergreens and to get here, your bench might not be as deep as some people's, right? You may have a couple champions in each slot, but if it turns out there are a lot of the same classes, well, so people who have a very deep bench don't really have a problem doing this adventure. People who don't will run into problems. So keep that in mind. Again, though, this is 5 campaigns deep in Idle Champions. This is one of our first 2 hard campaigns. Avernus was the first hard campaign. Icewind Dale, the second hard campaign. By the time you're here, you should have done things like split the party again, unlocked not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 total patrons. I kind of did that wrong, but that's fine. You should have unlocked Trials of Mount Tiamat and be getting legendary gear. I would hope you have at least one Modron core at maybe level 10. Maybe that's a little, I don't know. We'll see. So you should have lots of global blessings. You should have a good amount of perks. Avernus is basically perk central for patrons. Once you can complete Avernus, which is again before Icewind Dale in the list, patron perks start fleshing themselves out to a serious degree. If you can't, you'll 100% a couple of them, and you'll get most of the others, right? Just so you know. So by the time you get here, you should have a lot of power. But you're going to need that and a solid bench, right? And a solid bench. So keep that in mind. So that's all we're looking at. Again, this is fairly straightforward. We're replacing Zeraphon. We're replacing one champion with Zeraphon. He's going to try to do something. But the big restriction is just, hey, one class at a time. So we're going to hop in and take a look. I want everybody to keep in mind, I have a lot of favor here. That's going to help a little bit. Okay. So right off the bat, we come in and we see, hey, Zeraphon did his thing. He turned into one of these flesh golems, right? That's Zeraphon in the middle. I'm just going to throw down some familiars while we talk and work this out. You can see, it'll tell you right up here, there's a little tooltip. Lessen classes, increases damage against flesh golems by 100%. Go away. But now I need to fill out a formation, potentially, that's going to be able to get me to 725, and that's not going to, double up on a lot of classes, And I just saw a comment in chat, unlock Zeraphon with Evergreen only? I don't know. I don't know if that's possible, but maybe we line up our stuff in the background that way. Maybe we line up. This is something I've done for other Evergreens, attempted to do at least, but I don't know that it's possible here. So when we want to look in here, we want to keep in mind, this is where you're going to see your class in the champ UI. Fighter, right? Cleric, Paladin, Rogue. A lot of these early, the core champions you're getting, they are single class champions. Okay? But keep in mind, there are some dual class champions. Like over here, look, Rogue and Bard for Humon. Oh, Beetle and Grim, clearly. Rogue, Wizard, and Barbarian. This one slot would mark off 3 for me if I tried to use them. So keep in mind, you need to find a combination of champions. Oh, gosh. Imagine using nerds. Here you go. Fighter, Ranger, Bard, Cleric, Rogue, Wizard. No. No. So you want to design a formation, and this is probably not gonna be viable, but you know, just for demonstration purposes, I'm going to attempt to piece together a formation that potentially might be semi-okay. We're gonna, you know, who's telling it anyway? I don't, can't do that. See, look, it's almost like I did this on person. Rogue. Yeah, we already have a rogue. We have a rogue in Jarlaxle. So that means I'm going to have to make a choice here, right? Do I want a Jarlaxle or Hitch? We're going to choose Hitch, and then we're going to throw Mintskin, and now I've got one of each class. Wow. And core and evergreen champions to boot. Ooh. I don't know. I'm just going to pick humanoids. I don't know that we're getting super far this way, but, you know, we're going to try, folks. We're going to try real hard. We're going to try real hard. We're going to go life domain. We're going to... Okay. Now we're going to turn this on. And I'm going to throw some... Well, yeah. Throw some speed potions on because we want to actually see how far we can get here. That's going to be real busy for all of you, and I apologize in advance. Okay. So this is an example of a formation that you could attempt this with. More likely than not. I mean, could you do it with this? Probably. It would take outrageous amounts of power from other places and item levels and all the kinds of things, right? To make up for some more optimal champions. But it is a starting point you could use, and then you could start swapping in other things. And when you make choices, you just need to look, what are we getting? We're getting a sorcerer. Hey, that's one that at least it's a strong champion, and that's only one thing, so that's a viable option for this. There are a lot of classes in the game, but you are going to have to make some choices. You're going to have to make some choices. I love how Zeraphon turns into the big bone dudes. And there was the other big thing that we're going to have to keep in mind. We kind of shot right past it, so we'll talk about it here in a second. But the other big feature that's going to be challenging for this adventure, I mean, not only do you get some, a lot of interesting smaller bosses, sub-bosses, you have one big, bad, major boss on this, and that is the Tarrasque. That's right, folks. You Tarrasqued for it, and it's here. You can see it rocking out in the background back here, running back and forth. Sometimes in the outdoor levels. The Tarrasque is huge. Hands down, one of the biggest bosses in the game. Honestly, so big, it actually, when we get here, you're going to see it leans. Here we go. I'm going to sit right here. Oh, well, we killed it. Let's go back. Let's go back and let me bench as many champions as possible. Ugh, killed it anyway. Wow, Gaarawarr, can you stop nuking the Tarrasque, please? You have a show to demonstrate. All right. Let's do it like this. Boom, there he is. Super huge. Wow, I'm still killing him. The Tarrasque is so big, its head looms over the formation. It fills the whole screen. The entire screen. But you can't even see most of it. The head does come down and take a big chomp out of things. We're going to talk about that in a second, but I'm very interested to see what happens if you ever shrink this bad boy down. Because I'm curious what all art is actually there. Now, let me throw everybody back out. Oh, they're already there. We will see more of that big bad guy in the background as we travel along here, so don't worry about that. The Tarrasque does 3 different things. It's not enough that it's huge, but it's got multi-attack. And this is a feature some people are always ask, well, what are all these? Why do these champions have stats? Like, what do these stats do? As we look over here, what do all these stats do? And a lot of people are like, nothing, or they qualify you for abilities, which is true, or they qualify you for variants, which is true. But in certain cases, with certain bosses, they actually function just like they do in Dungeons and Dragons. A boss will make an attack or fire off an ability, and your characters have to make a saving throw, and they use their stats to do it. With the Tarrasque, we're using dex saves. So anything over 10 gives a 10% chance to save on the saving throw here. So Niali only has a 20% chance to save against the Tarrasque. Some of the champions might be better. Ooh, 8 and 10. Oh, this is not the greatest group in the world. Hey, there we go. Calliope's got a 60% chance. That's probably going to be... Hitch has got an 80% chance. So, some of the champions have a better chance than others to save against what the Tarrasque is doing. What is the Tarrasque doing? First off, the Tarrasque does a leg slam. Just slams his leg down on the ground, and it causes ice to fall from above. That deals damage and stuns 4 champions for 3 seconds. So there is a stun, and stun effects basically disable those champions and prevent them from being used. The Tarrasque does an arm swipe, so it'll swipe its claws at the front of the formation, and when it does, it deals damage to all the champions in the first 2 columns. So it will damage these 3 champions up here when it swipes its arms. Finally, the Tarrasque gets to bite. Remember where its head was? Well, the Tarrasque bites all the champions in columns 3 through 5, dealing damage. So the Tarrasque will bite everybody back here. So the Tarrasque will hit everyone in your party, just with different attacks and in different ways. So make sure that you understand that. Make sure that, one of these classes you're putting in has to either heal or shield, because there's going to be damage coming to everyone, while you do this. And potentially, if you're stunned and it hits your DPS, you're going to sit there a while. You're going to sit there a while and take even more damage. So, having a healer and or a shielder is a big deal for the Tarrasque fight. Big deal for the Tarrasque fight. Let's get, when we get up to the Tarrasque again, I will show you. He does have a he, she, it, they. I don't know their preferred pronouns. They do have a tooltip. Boom, it's right here. And it will explain, well, it was right there. It looks like the Tarrasque's head, and if you hover over it, it explains all the abilities that I just defined for you. But obviously, we're moving a little too fast to read it in game. So, if you are able to put together a formation that can get you to and help complete 725 on this adventure, you will unlock Zeraphon. So, what does Zeraphon do? Interesting that you might ask. Zeraphon is going to be over here in slot 7, right here at the end. The hooded person with the mask. Let's go ahead. Can we? No. Of course not. I already have a rogue in the party. Because I believe they come in, they are a rogue, if you see, non-binary, neutral. So this is true neutral, so they're neutral in both alignments. Doppelganger rogue, and they are support. So we are going to need to remove our friend Hitch for the moment. And we're going to put our pal Zeraphon in while we talk about them. So right away, stab. They stab a random enemy. Yeah, because that's what rogues do, folks. They stab random enemies. That's it. That's what they do. But the very first thing you get, the very first upgrade, is their ultimate ability. Zeraphon imitates an enemy and buffs all champions for 60 seconds with a 600-second cooldown. That's a long cooldown, folks. If you don't want to do the math, take it from me. It's 10 minutes. It's 10 minutes. Longest cooldown in the game. But Zeraphon also has more specializations than any champion in the game. So what do Zeraphon's specializations do? Well, they're all based on stats. So every option is going to be one of the stats that you have on your character sheet. And Zeraphon's going to ask you, do you want to go high or do you want to go low? And that's it. The way this works is based off whether you chose high or low. For the number of champions that match that choice, it's going to reduce his ultimate by 10 seconds. So reduce the cooldown on his ultimate by 10 seconds. Obviously, the ultimate is a bit of a big deal. The ultimate's a bit of a big deal. It is honestly one of the biggest deals on his kit because of the bonuses that it provides. So, you want to you're just going to have to do the math. You're going to want to count up what everyone's bonuses are and do this. Can we get... Yes, okay. So I'm going to go through here and we're going to look. This first one is strength. So strength 13 or higher. It's always going to be 13 or higher or 12 and lower. The way I do this, just to make it easy, is I look at the stat. I go, okay, that's up 1. That's up. So that's 2. That's 3. Nope. Well, they're not even in. That's 4. Okay, so I only got 4 that are above. So I'm going to pick below. Right? Pretty straightforward. Now we get to do it for dexterity, right? And we have to repeat this each time. So there's below. I'm going to count below this time. There's below. That's above. There's below. Now I got to 5. That's 5 below. I'm just going to stop. I know there's another person I could just click them. But the point is you only have to count to 5. As long as you get to 5, you're either going to get 5 or more, right? So you may as well choose that one. And you do that with each of these. I'm not gonna count all these. I'm just gonna alternate. But you need to do that with each of those to try to get Zeraphon's ultimate cooldown as low as possible. We have cut it in half here, folks. We have cut it in half. It was 600 seconds. Now it's down to 300 seconds. That's still a long time. That's still 5 minutes. The key now is we want to use it on cooldown. So Zeraphon picks an enemy from the current adventure and imitates them for 60 seconds. While the imitation lasts, Zeraphon does not attack but increases the damage of all champions. The enemy has been seen in the past 15 seconds. The increase is larger. So we're just going to go ahead and throw a cooldown on that. And we're going to look through the abilities now, because remember, those were just their specializations. So, if we filter through here, adaptable is the first actual ability that they get. It increases the damage of all champions by 100%, further increased by 25% for each stack of adaptable Zeraphon has. So this is a stacking bonus. Each champion provides adaptable stacks based on the number of specializations that they do not qualify for. So what we're seeing here is we are seeing the yang to the yin of the ultimate specializations. So ultimate specializations, when you qualify for that specialization, like when you match it, you reduce the cooldown. When you don't match it, you buff Zeraphon. Now, if you plan on doing deep runs with Zeraphon, and you're going to min-max Zeraphon, you 100% want to match as many ultimate reductions as possible. So you want as many to match as possible, and I will get to that why in a moment. It's another ability. But if you're just gonna do a fast run and you know you've got the damage, you can always just go for damage. Because Zeraphon to min-max Zeraphon takes some grinding, and we'll get to that. Minion meets Master is the next ability up for Zeraphon. When the only enemy alive during perfect imitation is a boss, because remember, he only imitates non-boss enemies, you increase the damage bonus of perfect imitation by 25% per second, stacking multiplicatively. So he gets a multiplicative bonus for the 60 seconds that is active against a boss. So that can be nice. That can be nice. Stacks reset when the ultimate ends. So keep in mind, this is basically what I like to refer to as a boss killer ability. This is a boss killer ability. Repeated imitation. So this is the one that makes Zeraphon kind of a min-max grindy type champion to get the bonus. Increase the damage bonus of perfect imitation by 5% each time it is used in an adventure. And perfect imitation is the ultimate. Stacking multiplicatively, that's the good way, up to 500 times. So that means they want you to use, if you want to fully max out the power that is available from Zeraphon, you have to hit his ultimate, their ultimate, I did it again, 500 times. Currently, we have it at 5 minutes, at a 5-minute cooldown. So that would be 2,500 minutes, right? That's a long time. Hold on, I can't do that math on stream with Streamer Brain. That's what, like over 41 hours? That means you're not just going to sit here and grind that up for like 2 days. You're just not. What you can do though is run potions. Right? Full speed potions is a 10 times speed bonus. That means you'd only have to sit there for, a little over 4 hours. And that's just at the bonus that I have now. If your formation matches better, it could be shorter. So this is the min-max ability. This is the one that is the big, nice bonus. And guess what, folks? It has an item that supports it. Spoiler alert, all of his abilities have items that support them. So adaptable, that we talked about before, that's the bonus, kind of the extra bonus you get for the people who don't qualify. Minion meets Master, which is the boss killer. Repeated imitation, which is the min-max ability. Plus some damage all champions, and we'll get to the other one here in a moment. Weak spot. Increase the damage bonus of perfect imitation by 25% each time the enemy Zeraphon is imitating, or an enemy with the same name is killed during that use of perfect imitation, stacking multiplicatively. Stacks reset when the ultimate ends. This is a minion killer. So we had a boss killer in Minion Meets Master. In Weak Spot, we have a minion killer. So this is, you fire this off if they're all the same thing on an event, on a level, and this is going to let you just burn right through them as you kill them. Now, it does mean you have to kill one at least once, but every time you kill one, it gets easier to kill the rest, right? And you can carry that from level to level, right? It's just you can't carry it from ultimate to ultimate. The stacks reset when the ultimate ends. So Zeraphon is a what we kind of refer to as a full item champion. There are not really any wasted items here. We get damage all champions, and we get one for each ability. There's nothing that affects the ultimate, because the ultimate itself provides its own damage bonus. There's no increase to that, and there's no cooldown because the specializations take care of the cooldown. And that's it, folks. That's all you're going to see. 4 abilities. So 4 abilities, 6 specializations, but all those 6 specializations are functionally the same. They're either high or low on each of the 6 stats. All right, so it seems like there's a lot going on, but it's pretty straightforward. You've got a boss killing ability that just takes care of itself. As long as you're hitting that ultimate, everything's based around the ultimate for Zeraphon. Minion killing ability for it, and you want to be using that ability, that ultimate, as often as possible. As often as possible. See, there we go. Look, I'm a big moonshine guy. Woo! I love that. I love it when he turns into like huge things. All right, feat wise, he's got 2 right now, but no, that's not it, Gaarawarr. He comes with 3 default. So selflessness, damage all champions, look into the mirror. This buffs is adaptable by 20%. Rising up the ranks is minion meets master by 20%. But what Zeraphon does nice is, you'll notice at base, Zeraphon doesn't qualify for any patrons, but stat feats. Here's 1. Here's 2 more. Each one of these feats qualifies them for a different patron, so they can qualify for Vajra, Strahd, and Zerial with one of these 3 feats slotted. Can't qualify for Mert because they're neutral. Can't qualify for Mert because they're neutral. But if you'll note, look at this long list of feats. They are one of the most fleshed out champions that arrives, like arriving champions in terms of feats. There's a lot here. You'll see there's actually 5 gold chest feats. This athlete was a gold chest feat, so regular gold chests can deliver you 5 of Zeraphon's feats, and the other 3 are 12/5 gems feats. So still damage all champions. You get adaptable, you get minion meets master, you get repeated imitation, right? So we can buff it yet again. So you can really go all in on that min-max. You get weak spot. And what I like about this is when you get these, you'll be able to, like, okay, am I just clearing trash mobs? Is that what I want to do? I can just swap this feat in. Now I'm on the boss and I want to kill the boss. Now I can swap this feat in, right? So it is adaptable to what you're having trouble with. And adaptable to join your formations. I'm just going to throw these in for now. In patron variants. All but Mert. That's Zeraphon in a nutshell, folks. Pretty straightforward. I think they're pretty straightforward. I think the biggest thing, biggest thing to remember is everything about Zeraphon is centered around their ultimate ability. And you want to keep that ultimate ability up every time you can. So this is one of the places where it's like, yes, park a familiar on their ultimate, and just let it do its thing. Now, if you get to a hard boss and the ultimate is on cooldown, you may want to run that cooldown out on the level before the boss, and then make sure you're hitting it against the boss, because you want that damage bonus for 60 seconds ramping up against that boss to help you get past it. So note that is kind of, the ultimate is kind of a damage bonus time ultimate. So when it's down, your damage is greatly reduced, right? He's not contributing as much otherwise. It does track stuff back here. So you can see, like, here's low strength, where you can see how many of these you actually qualified for. We've got adaptable going on here. We've got 24 stacks of it. Then low dexterity, 5. Minion meets master, we're not even on a boss level, so that's not racking up. Here's 8 high constitutions. We actually did pretty well. Repeated imitation, we've hit the ultimate 12 times. It's totaling up the bonus here, so you can actually read and know what kind of increase you're getting every time it goes off. There, it went up right while we were watching it. Wow, I just went back and forth on the specs. Charisma is the only one I missed. Charisma is the only one I really missed. So we could reduce the ultimate by quite a bit if I go back and I change the charisma, but I'm not too worried about it at the moment. But you can read everything that's going on about them here in the outgoing effects, which is nice. Not always the case. So it's good to see that this one was taken care of. I see that. So they're the ultimate champion. Yes, I'm here for the puns. You know what? Let's do this. This Baloth doesn't really work in this formation, but I'll level him up. Sure. Why not? I need to go back to the other formation, though. So, if we swap Minsk back in, and then we'll smoke Hitch back in there. And I don't need any familiars down here because everybody's leveled up, and we will see what happens. Alright, let me just make sure, let me double check my notes. Did I miss anything? Don't think I did. When you're leveling up Zeraphon, it is heavy. The upgrades are heavy into adaptable, which is interesting because it feels like the cleanup thing. Like it feels like feels like it's not the bonus that you really want. You would like the repeated imitation bonus, but it does focus heavily on adaptable. So again, if you're not going to take the time to grind out all of those ultimate stacks, Focusing the specializations to have the least number of them would read into adaptable. So if you think that's where you want to focus your power, and you'll be fine there because you're not gonna spam his ultimate. There you go. But it feels more like just an extra damage bonus that you get while you're stacking his ultimate up. Minion Meets Master does get a couple upgrades. Repeated Imitation does get an upgrade. It's not heavy in the list, and you can see all of these in Gaarawarr's Guide to it's Evergreen Champion Guide, Zeraphon, the Doppelganger Rogue, which you can find on the subreddit right now. They do have an achievement. I guess we should go look at their achievement. I don't think I've done it yet. Here we go, Monster Mash. So, have Zeraphon mimic at least one of each enemy of the following types. So think of this as a list, and you need to mark it off. If it helps you to write it down, so that you can go minion hunting for this 1% bonus. Aberration, Beast, Demon, Devil, Goblinoid, Humanoid, Lycanthrope, Monstrosity, or Undead. I can tell you a lot of those. A lot of those are in Avernus, for sure. The rest you might have to hunt Undead, Tomb of Annihilation. Some you might have to go hunting for. There are fan sites out there where you can look that up. People are posting lists in the resources channel. Someone may have posted one as a comment in my guide. But it's basically, this is one of those, just use Zeraphon a lot and you'll get it. I'm at 4 of 9. I have no idea which 4 I did. It's one downside to this achievement. So, if I go hunting for it, I'm going to have to just run through the list. And that's fine. But yeah, that's everything about Zeraphon, folks. We are done a little early. I'm amazed. We're not done with the adventure, though. We still have 170 levels to go. But we've gotten further than I thought we would just with the core champions. And this is my speed core, and it is my reduced power speed core that I use for Briv farming. But we'll see what happens. We will see what happens. This comes down to is just, can you field unique champions, which you can, because I did here with the core champions, but do you have the power to back it up and get to 75 and 725? Okay, let's talk about, these are Tomb Tappers, folks. These are Tomb Tappers that you see here as these bosses. These are rough. So, I mean, the Tarrasque is rough, but the double Tomb Tappers, the two Tomb Tappers are probably the second hardest boss in this adventure. They hurt a bit, and they're armored. So we're going to go to the break a little early, which means we get more Q&A today. So I will be back in a few moments. We don't have a song for Zeraphon yet. I don't know if that's a thing that's going to happen, because what kind of, I don't know. Do you just do doppelgangers for that? I don't know. So we're going to do the homage in part to Icewind Dale. We're going to do the Frost Giant song. And when I get back, I will hit up the questions document that Mars has been filling up with all of your questions. All right. See you in a moment, folks.
Stories told, stomping through the snow everywhere we go. Rivers of the storm, we will not conform. The winds they call us forth in the frozen north. Hear our hearts begin to blow, sending through the snow, as we leave nothing left but bones for crows. Heralds of the squall, watch your heroes fall. You will know our power, one and all. shiver in our wake as the ground begins to shake. The breaking of your hope will seal your fate. We're the lords of the ice, never to be crossed. Children of thrill, vain of the lost giants of frost. We'll make ourselves a stew. The main ingredient is you. We're the lords of the ice, never to be crossed. Children of thrill, vain of the lost. We're the lords of the ice, never to be crossed. Children of thrill, vain of the lost giants of frost.
It's happening, folks. 60 levels. 60 levels left on this core champion Zeraphon run. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. All right. During the break, I went and joined my trial. Somebody had a Volez. I've joined your trial. You can start it now. Someone's running Grandmaster, and I'm like, sure, I'll do Grandmaster. I technically qualify for higher than that, but I've been hopping in to lower ones while I, try to save up lesser blood vials. Always be assaulting. Always be assaulting. You gotta keep those going. All right, I'm gonna hit the question doc. Thank you, Mars, for pulling all the questions today. And I'm gonna try to address Zeraphon and Zeraphon unlock questions first. Are we killing? Yes, we are killing the Tarrasque. Okay, I couldn't see it behind chat. Trentinator, does the NPC Zeraphon count as an adjacency? It should not. NPC should not count as anything in your formation. Might it? It might. I'm looking at Moonbeam. I don't really know. I could swap. Hold on. 136 EO9. I know this is two adjacencies up here. 136 EO9. Okay, so if it were 3, it would go down. So they do not count as an adjacency. Otherwise, they'd be reducing Tyrell's bonus. Tritinator, I don't... We just did that one. Strider X248, 0 unlock with mostly evergreens. We're trying it. They kind of recently they said they were giving away all 12 core champions, including Hitch. Apparently, they forgot Delana. I love that. All 12 champions, core champions, including Hitch. So Hitch is basically something they consider a core champion, even though he is an evergreen. He's an evergreen, but because you can unlock Hitch the moment you start playing by going to the menu and signing up for the newsletter, he's basically core champion. All right, we are finally having a trouble getting through this. Now, here's the thing. The ultimate's coming up on Zeraphon. Oh, no, that's on Minsk. Dang it. Oh, no. Are we just... Okay. All right. Well, speed core Thank you for your service. I need more power. I need more power. All right, there we go. We're going to try to do it with core champions. Tritinator 71. Can you swap out a different hero of that class? Sure. That's how I got Zeraphon in, right? I pulled out Hitch, who was a rogue. I put in Zeraphon. You can remove here. This isn't like Split the Party, where once they're in, you have to use them. You can remove them. Oh, wow. 20 levels. I think we're doing this, folks. I think we're doing this. Zeraphon, wait, how do you see the chance to evade? So basically what we're looking at is the dex bonus on the champion. The dex bonus on the champion. If we go back, hold on. Let's let it finish this. And then I'm going to hop back to the Tarrasque. The tooltip up here tells you each attack is subject to a dex save. So each one is going to be a bonus above that. It should be. I said 10%. I might have been guessing. Regardless, you're going to get a bonus for the higher the dex you have. So if you have high dex champions that meet these requirements and have lots of power, there you go. There you go. You're not going to get you're going to have as much of a problem with the Tarrasque. What was the green mist that came out? The mist that came out on one of the boss fights. There's like a wizard or somebody that casts this cloud of poison gas or something that's going to basically be an AOE on your entire party. Like I said, there are some difficult bosses along the way. That it's not just the Tarrasque, but the Tarrasque is obviously the one that's the elephant in the room, right? The elephant in the room. Let's see if we run into that mist one up next. We'll run into it again, I'm sure. Oh, no, it's the Tomb Tappers again. I hate the Tomb Tappers. Hate them. It's the mouths in the bellies that get me, folks. That's no. Just no. Science Guy 31415. For Zeraphon's achievement, is there a way to see which ones you're missing? No. Sorry. Zeraphon, Spider-Vein. Zeraphon, where did this come from? This arrived on Wednesday with Icewind Dale Part 10. Icewind Dale Part 10. So usually when Part 10 is the last of the adventures, the base storyline adventures. So usually when we hit that, at least recently, that's when they introduce. There we go. Avarice is the one that does the Poison Cloud. And we did it! Lesson in classes, jeez, with core champions. Okay. I mean, they qualify. They qualify. I don't want you to think that... Here's the thing, folks. I don't want you to take away from this that, all I have to do is use core champions and I can beat this. My core champions have a lot of item levels, folks. My Ashara has some that are over 3,000. They're all real far up there. They're 3,000, 3,000, 3,000. Wow. They're all in the 3,000 range. So, yeah. I mean, if that's where you want to get, if you have lots of power, you try it, but not required. Just an example. Just an example. J-Dog, aren't you sacrificing the damage buff by speccing for cooldown instead? Yes, but because of repeated imitation, which is the multiplicative stacking bonus you get for using the ultimate over and over and over again, that damage gets higher if you're willing to stack it. If you're willing to stack it, than what you would get from going the other way. So it really depends on where do you want to get your damage from. Do you want to stack that ultimate, or do you just want to get some pure damage and do your run as quickly as possible? Doorbell streams. You keep saying he, his. I'm trying. The doppelganger Zeraphon is non-binary, so they're they, them. Correcting myself every chance I can get. What else? Anything else here specifically about Zeraphon? Does the weekend buff help in any way? I mean, it's going to be a little bit of a bonus, right? If I was using Brig, I'm using Ashara. That's potpourri, but I only have one. This is only a single bond Ashara, so I only have 3 for potpourri. So not a whole lot. We're getting a little from Dark Blessing, But yeah, I mean, whenever if you can get really close on this, like to the last level, and then that it might help you. It's just the weekend bonuses are nice, but unless it's something that's going to help you gold farm, usually they're not necessarily going to help you super duper a lot on pushing. The nice one is this one applies to Ashara, and because Ashara's bond applies multiple times, it can actually get you a nice bonus for pushing here. So if you want to try to use Ashara to unlock Zeraphon, you're going to have a nice boost this weekend. How big of a boss can Zeraphon duplicate? He can't. Bishop McHugh? He can't. They can't. Zeraphon cannot duplicate bosses. Only minions. And have you done this on your new player account yet? No. I was trying to do. I wanted to do it on my new player account for this, but my new player account does not have a lot of favor here, and I was having to grind favor. I had to finish the adventures this week and grind favor, and it took too long. So that will be something that happens on my stream at some point. We will attempt a Zeraphon unlock on my new player account. Who knows? But Zeraphon was a frost giant? Sure, but the frost giant wasn't the boss. So as long as it's the minion and not the boss, Zeraphon can mimic it. All right, general questions. We need more questions, folks. What is it? We have a lot of people here. Ask some questions. Because we've got a whole hour left to talk, folks. We have a whole hour left. Brennan Mac G. I have 2 of these Tiamat potions. How do I use them? They're not potions. These are prismatic blood vials. And as it states, if you hover over them, they're used to start Trials of Tiamat campaigns. What they do is they take the place of lesser blood vials. Usually you have to have a number of lesser blood vials to start a higher tier difficulty Trials campaign. The higher the tier of difficulty, the more blood vials, up to tier 10 taking like 80 blood vials. As you can see, I only have 34. So I could, instead of paying 80, I could pay 1 prismatic blood vial. So you want to hold on to these. These are not potions. When you click on them, they do not do anything. So yeah, they go in your inventory because people wanted a way to see them all the time. Tritinator, coming back. Should I unlock Xander or get Melf chests? Other option is Vlanya gear and your natural time gate. I mean, you might as well just unlock Xander at that point. You gotta catch them all eventually. Darth Grana, I'm new to the game. How to use a chess code? Well, let's see. Today's chess code for this stream is Doppelgeider. I'm punny. Boom, just like that. Bam. So let's do that again in slow motion. Shop. Unlock a locked chest at the top right. And paste in the code and hit unlock. Or type in the code if you're not somewhere you can paste. Either way. Keep away, no prob. Well, how do you quickly put familiars away? F. F to place familiars, F to store familiars. I can store all of them at once. Or if I put them out, I can also, just click on them while holding F to remove them. So it's F does the familiars. Man, did we stun the Tarrasque or something? He doesn't seem to be attacking. You'd think he'd kill me off while I'm standing here. We did something. To bug him out. Dota 2 Norax, champion silver chest or electrum chest first? If we're talking about time gate and event champions, and it's a new champion that you've unlocked and has no gear, you always want to use the Electrums, whatever Electrums you have first. The reason for that is you already know that their name chest is going to drop gear directly on them. But Electrum chests can drop gear for any champion. However, they will prioritize empty slots first, which means when you pop, hopefully at least the first 6 Electrum chests, it should populate gear for that brand new champion, and thus at least get you some gear for them that you might not have gotten otherwise, and also get you some item levels. Technically, if you have enough Electrums, you can, because of the way the rolls for upgrades and stuff are going to work, it should get you, you potentially could get all the way to blue with that, but you can at least grab the whites and greens real quick. The silvers are just going to automatically dump in anyway and be duplicates, and get you extra item levels, and then use the golds to flesh them all the way up to epic. Because remember, Electrums are only going to get you all the way to blue. They don't drop higher than that. Crew Alex, who should I pick for 3rd slot after slot 7 after Minsk and Freely? I mean, obviously you're probably not far enough to unlock Zeraphon, but Minsk and Freely, I like Caddy Bree. Jim gets some function. People just use him to get rid of leftovers usually, but Caddy Bree's an actual support and also can be used as a DPS. Really, I would say Lucius is going to be coming up in an event. If you don't want to spend a time gate, if we come over here and we look, if we collapse events and we go to upcoming Simrel, scroll all the way down to the bottom, look, we get Krull and Lucius on Wednesday. So you're going to get Lucius for free on Wednesday, so maybe you don't want to run a time gate for that right now. Hey, my trials campaign started. Woo! All right. I will work on that later. Tierno 30, do you lose Nova's collections stuff like that she collects if you remove her from the party? No. No. It stays. It stays for that run. Once you end the run, it resets, but as long as you're in that run, it's there. Finnick, which 3rd champ to pick for slot 10 from a time gate? I have Avalar and Tyrell. If you can, if you're close to getting to the end of Waterdeep, you can get Olcoria for free. Get Olcoria for free. Otherwise, I'd probably say Eliwick. I'm leaning more towards Eliwick now as the 3rd one. But Olcoria is free if you can. But she takes, you have to get to the very end of Waterdeep and do a bunch of variants. So she's like 45 deep in Waterdeep. Knockout Panda, do you know if we spend gems on the feat for Ashara in the year-end giveaway, will they be refunded on redemption? They should, yes. Usually if you buy a feat with gems that is included in like a cash shop offer, and then later you buy that cash shop offer, you get the gems refunded. It should work the same way here for when you claim 4 chests in Year's End, which is just coming up here in a couple hours. You'll get this feat. But if you decided you just wanted it right now, instead of waiting until you've unlocked 4 chests, then yes, it should be refunded. If it isn't, submit a ticket. But yeah, it should just automatically refund. Knockout Panda, what blessings do you recommend getting before doing the 0 unlock? As many as you can? I mean, I had them all. Remember, one of the things that made it nice is before there were only 3 tiers of blessings in this campaign, but they added tiers 4 and 5 for this. So there is a lot of damage to be had here. There's tiers 2500%. Here's another 400% for event champions. That's not helping this formation. 1500% for all champs. Frozen Fortitude, for those of you who don't know, this increases the damage of champion while in areas under the effect of the rime by 100%. What rime means here is heavily snowing. So it needs to be outdoors and it needs to be heavily snowing on the screen. You can gain more favor here. Once you get to tier 5, this first one, Divine Aid, will give you more favor on your resets. Ancient Magic, if you're using a Shara DPS, that's going to help you out for Zeraphon. This one's going to help you out for Zeraphon staying warm. Potent Potions Increases basic potions by 25%. That's any potion that has all 4 rarities. So that's going to be giant strength, clairvoyance, heroism, fire breath, and speed. Although speed right now isn't working, but it's intended to, so they'll work on getting that fixed. So that's what those. So all of these new blessings. I mean, if you could get them all, great. But otherwise, get whatever you can. That's going to afford you as much power to try to do this. Try it out and just try it out. I mean, if you get stuck, you get stuck. But it may be that like this, you end up cruising right through it. I will say on my on this account when I did it the first time, I had them go back and undo it so that I could do this on stream. When I did it the first time, I threw in a formation and it had a bunch of event champions, and I had my speed core in. Again, my kind of reduced damage speed core, and I beat it without even paying attention. So if you are more of an in-game player, you have a lot of power, you have all those blessings and perks, Zeraphon's unlock shouldn't be challenging. The challenge is for people who don't have a very deep bench, potentially, or just don't have a lot of overall power on their account. Hey, we beat it. Cute boy, no prob. I'm having trouble using my Modron core. Is there a better way to get more pieces than just slowly leveling, getting my patron chests every week? Nope. I mean, you can buy them from the store. But if you're talking about in-game, just earning them, then that's the way it works. So there's a Modron Founders Pack, which is 50 chests, an adorable familiar, and then a potion you can use later. These are pointless right now. But yeah, this is the only way. That's the only way to go faster. Otherwise, you're doing what we all did, which is slow accrual of power as you level up. That's everybody that didn't buy those chests is faced that on the Modron core. That's just kind of the way it works. That one. Dota 2 Norix, how many chests did you open to get all shinies on Zeraphon? Not many, because I had guaranteed shiny chests. So when you buy packs from the store, and they come with they come with 5 gold chests or 10 gold chests or something. These come with guaranteed shinies. So I had a set of 42 of these from some wild offer that I did. I actually got a natural shiny. If you go back to the video on Wednesday, I geared Zeraphon up on stream on Wednesday. I got a natural shiny right off the bat, and then I got from Silvers. And then I just opened up 42 chests that had 5 guaranteed shinies in them. So I have those sitting around. I don't open them. But if you're looking at like where would that happen? I don't know if I have. Usually a lot of times these are wild offers that I picked up. But if you see like here, it says 7 chests, and over here it says, hey, this is a shiny card. That means in those 7 chests I'm guaranteed a shiny. Yeah, it was the first time that Andrea Raven, first time I saw someone got sad that got a shiny. I was sad because I was like, oh. Because I already had all of these saved up guaranteed shiny chests, and I got a natural one. I was like, man, I used up my streamer luck on that. Jeez. Peter D. Pan, could you please show a good Ashara and or Zorbu formation to unlock Zeraphon? Well, I mean, I just showed an Ashara formation to unlock Zeraphon. Zorbu... I don't think I'd change anything for Zorbu. I mean, look, it's... No? This isn't formation save. I guess that's the new answer to that question. There's now a show that's going to be happening at some point. I don't know if they've scheduled new episodes, but called Formation Save, where Taylor and Sean literally take a copy of your game and will help you with your formations. We'll probably see it. I don't know if they have any more scheduled for this year. There's only a couple more weeks of streaming left in this year, but it is going to be a multiple time a week thing in the future. In the future. J-Dog, I don't know if Formation Save is happening next Wednesday. I don't think that's on the actual schedule yet, but it will happen at some point in the future. But I don't know. They post the schedules on Mondays on social media and in the Discord, so check there for more of that. But Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. With Zeraphon, it really is, what's your bench look like? So I could post a formation of all of the champions that I have that make a good Ashara pushing formation. But that doesn't do you any good if you don't have them. Or if yours aren't geared as well as mine. Right? So yeah. Yeah, hard to say. But you can go to the, until then you can go to the formations channel in Discord and you can post your champions. And I mean, just try it out. Here's what I'm going to say though, is just try it. Why not just go try it and see what you can do? And then if you hit a wall, post your formation and the champions you own in the formations channel in the Discord. People will help you out. People help you out. Oh yeah, geez, I'm putting up so much damage. Wow. That's what's getting me there, folks. Even with all core champions, I've got E236 Ashara damage. Oh, good Lord. And I still have troubles finishing some trials, folks. Ghostwalker 71. With all things being equal, which champions would you pick for the 9-slot formation, and how would you place them? I mean, I'm assuming you're talking Sword Coast. I don't know. In the current meta, I mean, if you want to use Ashara, you'd build around Ashara, so you're throwing three, you know, you're throwing people who match Potpourri in, you're throwing, I don't know. I don't know, folks. I don't create things in a vacuum. Here's what I'm going to tell you. I don't create formations in a vacuum. I don't just theory craft and build formations. If you've ever come to my streams when I've been trying to do patron variants, which I have a Idle Chatter patron edition, usually Thursday mornings. I build formations to solve the puzzle of whatever variant I'm doing at the time. It is very rare that you just get to build a formation in a vacuum and use it. And what I mean in a vacuum? Well, with all things being equal and no outside factors involved. That is not how this game works. That is not how this game works. The core content of this game are the variants that have restrictions. And the vast majority of those are patron variants. Currently, there are about 900 patron variants in the game. And that's only going up every time they add more content. There are far fewer regular adventures. Far fewer regular adventures where you can just build in a vacuum. Sword Coast, I mean, if we're just talking Sword Coast specifically, there's lots of adventures there, sure. And you might get to build just straight up what you want in a lot of them, but the difficulty in Sword Coast lies in doing the variants, especially for the patron stuff. Especially for the patron stuff. So I don't know that there's a lot of... I don't know what you get out of building well, here's the best possible formation, because a lot of times you just don't get to use it. You just don't get to use it. So I would refer you to go to my my new player guides. There's a formation strategy 101 guide. It's basically just talks about how you make the decisions to build a solid formation. That is a foundational piece of knowledge for this game. That's why it's the first thing I try to point people towards. Because if you can learn to build your own formations, you can solve every puzzle in this game. You can solve every puzzle in this game without anybody else's help. McNeil DJ, when running Briv and Freely, I noticed the number of levels gained from Adventurous Tale doesn't equal the number of levels completed. Do the levels jumped by Briv not get included in the math? Maybe. I don't know. Whenever you're jumping, because here's the thing. If you're jumping a level, you're not completing it. I know you want it. I know you want that credit, but you didn't complete that level. You skipped it. So it's most likely just not counting because you didn't do what Freely wants you to do, which is complete that level. J-Dog, what brand of mango juice? None this morning. I ran out. I gotta get more. Molepocalypse, how deep should your bench be for Zeraphon, or should you just try and find more varied characters? I mean, here's the thing. Just go try Zeraphon. If you've gotten there, go try it and see what happens. Like I said, I just did it with core champions, but I don't expect everybody to be able to do that. But ultimately, that it is usually about your bench, like, because usually your core champions, if you're newer, they're not going to be super strong. Your event champions may very well be stronger. They're just tuned that way. What makes my core champion strong is the fact that I have over 4 years worth of duplicate item levels built up on them. So that's not going to be most people's experience. So you just have to, I mean, you can start out with this and then you can start swapping people in and out, right? But basically you need to find a way to build out unique champions or unique classes with as much pushing power as possible. Until I do this on my new player account, it will be hard to say just how deep it needs to be. Just how deep it needs to be. I'm trying to get there. It's just slow. It's slow when you don't have an endless supply of speed potions. County Q, how many mimics could Zeraphon mimic if Zeraphon could mimic mimics? 1. You can only mimic one thing at a time. I know where you're going with that. But Big Jake Manassi, I just unlocked all Time Gate events champs. Nice! Congrats. That's a nice milestone. I need to do a 3-champ rotation to keep the area requirements down, correct? Yeah, once you start hunting now, if you're now hunting for gear, the 3-champ rotation keeps things at the base level of 50-75 as you do each one. So you are correct. You are correct. Hancock, I'm a fairly new player and my account is on my iPhone. Is there a way to play my account on my PC? No. If you want to switch to PC, you just bite the bullet now while a bunch of these codes are active, like there's the Zorbu code and the year-end celebration is happening, and just bite the bullet and switch over to PC if that's what you prefer. But there is no transferring of accounts or cross-platform play of one account. That isn't a thing, and it's not going to be a thing. Amorous, wait, why is getting extra silver levels a good thing? Don't you want to replace silver? No, I think you might be confusing some things here. The way the game works is when you open up chests and you get an item, and then you open up more chests and you get a duplicate, that duplicate isn't wasted. It contributes item levels to your item. That is how my Ashara's is Swirling Robe of Gusting Wind has a shiny level of 2,868. It's from opening up regular silver chests and regular gold chests and getting duplicate gear. So when I was talking earlier about opening Electrums first, it's because you want to target that new champion with no gear, with as many potential items as possible, so that you can not only get gear but also get item levels, because item levels are your power. They are a scaling function of power for your champion. So getting extra item levels by opening silvers after the Electrums gives you more power. It's not a lot, but in the long term, this game is all about small accruals of power over time, and how all those small accruals of power multiply against each other to help you do things like beat a Tarrasque with core champions. Shatten's owner, or how or when can I access the Trials of Tiamat campaign? I got some of the large vials, but I have no idea how to where to use them. Trials of Mount Tiamat is unlocked by completing Baldur's Gate Descent into Avernus, the very last adventure. You just have to complete the storyline. You don't have to beat all the variants. The very last adventure is called Elturel's Last Stand. If you can complete that, then it unlocks Trials of Mount Tiamat. The dialogue on the main screen, which I will show you here, will appear in the UI right here, this button. And then you will be able to go start or join a Trials run and participate. Those vials, if you're not there yet, you just want to hold on to them for a very long time, really. And yes, I do have a guide for that. I think there's a command for it. I think there's a command just for the Tiamat guide. There we go. So Gaarawarr's Guide to Trials of Mount Tiamat is linked in chat. So if you want to learn more about how that works. Peluxar, excuse the long question, but how would you recommend getting Tiamat favor over E26? I've been trying and failing to get more favor. I hit my wall at roughly 550, sit at my wall and do some Zaka farming and not get further. Yeah, because you've already gotten all of the progress you could get out of favor. You are finding out that progress from favor ends for the most part. Progress from favor ends once you soft cap your champions, which you're clearly doing if you're walling at 550. So how do you push further? Well, favor's not going to do it. You can Azaka farm all you want, and you're not going to go any further, really. What you need to do is you need to get more power from other things. Favor is not the only way to get power. You need to do patron stuff, and you need to get patron perks. You need to level up your Modron core, and you need to get pipes for it, and you need to play the pipe game and get your flow all epic. Yeah, I mean, with E26 favor, you can complete Elturel's Last Stand. Well, if you complete Elturel's Last Stand, you can start doing Trials of Mount Tiamat. And if you do Trials of Mount Tiamat, you can start forging legendary gear. Legendary gear is more power. So you need to do things that get you more overall power for your account as a whole, so that when you go into Avernus, you can push further and get more favor. Because that pushing power has to come from somewhere other than favor once you soft cap. Now, yes, there is a way once you get into the around E30, you can start using click debuff in some places, but it's not great against armored bosses, so yada, yada, yada. But yeah, ultimately, power has to come from more than just favor. And if you haven't been trying to do that before now, well, now the game is telling you, well, you ignored me for a long time. Now you have to focus on me. 17's a pun. If you were building your speed team but still have low item levels, who would you prioritize? Human. Human's going to give you the most return for your item level investment because their speed ability is always on, unlike Briv. Pedro, I'm new to the game. How do blessings work? Hey, I just did a guide on this last week. So if you want the full explanation, I'll give you a TLDR, but the full explanation you can check out in the VODs on this channel, Gaarawarr's Guide to Divine Favor and Blessings, Revisited, which I did last week. So, how do blessings work? When you push in an adventure, you earn a lot of gold. When you complete that adventure, that gold converts itself, like the total gold you earned converts into favor for a god for that campaign. You can then, when you start the next run, you can click the little blessing dialogue, and you can go in and you can spend that favor on blessings. The big warning is make sure you have this checkbox here, so that when you're spending and a little pop-up comes up and goes, ooh, you're going to be spending a lot. Do you want to do that? You say no. Just use that warning as a way to know how much you're spending. Every time you complete an adventure and start a new one, go spend favor on blessings. This is kind of the snowball form that favor does multiple things and helps snowball your power and your progress as you play the game. That's the TLDR. That's the TLDR. Those are all done. Riffraff, which 3 event champions would you rotate time gates on? Whichever 3 you're using regularly in your pushing party. So far I'm doing Ayla, Human, and Orkira. Yeah, that sounds fine. The goal is you're just rotating until you get them to full epic. So, and then you'll rotate. One will get full epic before the others. One will get full epic before the others, and then you just rotate that one out, and you rotate a new one in. So you're going to need a list of champions that you want to full epic, kind of in somewhat of a priority. And you just want to base that off who you're using to really push with, and how efficient are they. I would say if you don't have Avren, if you have Avren and he's not full epic, he should be in your priority list because his items are more efficient than some other champions. Pinler, is there any magic attack tank or someone to use as someone to use as a tank? There's lots of people you could use as tanks. But I think what you're talking about is a magic base attack champion that is magic base attack by default. And no, there are no default magic base attack tanks in the game. There are a couple of champions that can specialize into having a magic base attack and one that gets it on a trigger, but none of those are going to help you with Alcoria's unlock mission, if that's what you're talking about, and its subsequent variants. Because you need a default one. Dance Lover, new player, welcome. Should I use time gates for unlocking the second party? Yes. I'm missing spots 2 and 3. Yeah. Slot 2, if you don't have anyone in here at all, if you only have Celeste, that means you're brand new because you just missed Whittle. Aim for like Regis or Dinar. Probably maybe Dinar early. Well, Regis or Dinar. For 3, I recommend Grama. But Spurt and Omen are also pretty solid. But Grama does work. Grama does work. And check the codes in the Discord to see if there's any that are going to give you someone free. There was just a recent Cobalt code that unlocked, I don't know if it's still active, that unlocked a bunch of Kobolds and would give you your slot 3. That would give you your slot 3, but I don't know how long it's active for. So check the Discord and see. Oh, somebody's saying the Cobalt code expired. Okay. Well, never mind. You can still get the free Zorbu code. Does someone have the... Mars, can you put the chat command in for the free Zorbu code? There it is. Go get Zorbu for free. Zorbu slot 12, though. Knockout Panda, how do you have only E44 spent? My last blessing currently costs 3 E44. There were multiple bugs for Icewind Dale for the blessings when they had launched. There was a good bug and a bad bug. One of the good bugs made it not cost as much to buy all the blessings. One of the bad bugs made it cost way more. It's my understanding they've since resolved those issues. But it would take me resetting my blessings and buying them all again to fix it. And you know what? I'm just going to take the bonus. For now, I'll reset it eventually, but... Sometimes I feel like if I have to deal with the bad bugs all the time, sometimes I'm just going to enjoy the good bugs too. And it's not really that big of a deal. It's a little more favor. I could do a deep push and a Zaka farm and have it all back. Dance Lover, regarding the second party, which is not unlocked yet, I do not have patrons yet. To get parts for the core somewhere else. No, just by leveling. As you get a new level on your core, every time you level it up, you get 1 chest. But early on, the big thing to help you level up your Modron core is unlocking and putting some energy into patrons each week so that you can get those chests. That's part of kind of the Modron core grind. It's very worth it. It's very worth it. Going from no Modron core to a full epic Modest core, which is the Modest core is the first core you get, that can get you over 100 levels of pushing progress. Anywhere. You can literally swap, you can pull that core out, push as far as you can get, and then throw the core in and you'll go 100 levels further. I did it repeatedly on stream when they first announced that because it was just kind of shocking to see. Yeah, so it's worth the long grind. You got to start it slow and steady, and eventually to get there. Haggis Buns, wouldn't Zeraphon's song just be all the rest of the songs on shuffle? Potentially. I mean, I think there's probably a good doppelganger, just a general doppelganger song you could make. Like there was a Kobold song. I just don't know because Zeraphon is a Sani original champion, so there isn't. Like, what you've read in their Champion Spotlight is the only lore that exists. So there's not a whole lot to go off of for creating a song. Now, they have done that with original champions before. But usually the whoever helped make them had a lot more lore in their head than necessarily went on the paper, and that helped, right? I'm talking about Warden specifically. Or Zorbu. Zorbu's a C&E original, right? Grandlian72, do you occasionally start a new account to check things out, or is there a way to reset an account? I start new accounts, as do a lot of people. A lot of people in the community. Mars is another person that starts new accounts regularly. We do that so that when we're, well, at least we do that, so that when we're giving advice to new players, we have a new player perspective in mind in terms of the power a new player account has. Obviously, we have a lot of knowledge that new players don't have that lets us do stuff on new player accounts quickly. But I, for one, then turn that into all my guides. So there's over 100. I have over 100 guides for the game on the subreddit, on the wiki page, on the subreddit, and a lot of the new player guides, like specific new player guides, are built and tested around running new player accounts, including my new player reference, which is kind of a walkthrough of like a milestone-based walkthrough of the start of the game up through unlocking each of the evergreens, not including Zeraphon, but that will be added soon. Messadival, what is the specialization Minsky you're using? I just picked humanoids. I didn't even look to see if that was going to be optimal. I honestly didn't think we would beat this with that, so I just chose one. Big Jake Manaxi, is there a way to see how many gold chest feats I still need without looking through all 90 champions one at a time? No. Kitty McSparkles, does a duplicate shiny give you a potion of polish? No. A duplicate shiny, if you actually get one, gives you 125 item levels for that item. So it gives you a large boost of item levels. It is when you already have a shiny and you put a golden epic on top of it that you get a potion of polish back. The anonymous lurk, when people talk about wanting to get high item levels on champ like Artemis or Briv, what would be considered high? Over 1,000 or much higher? I'm going to go ahead and say much higher. I mean, that's a good starting point. But my Briv, 1,000 is going to be a nice starting point. I'm in, what, the 1,500 to 1,800 range? Yeah. And I'm not even... This puts this at 1626 with 1,500% unnatural haste is what's important. They increase the effect of Briv's unnatural haste ability by 1,500%. That 1,500% bonus means that every time Briv jumps, he jumps 3 levels. Like 3 whole levels. Some people get this up much higher. Much higher. For Humon, which is the other one that usually you're talking about, it is the rainbow eggs. Again, I have 1,500 levels in this, but it's also a shiny, so the power bonus that we're looking at is more around 3,000, right? Increases the effect of Humon's carefully balanced ability by roughly 3,000. It takes a lot of item levels to get there. It would take more than 1,500 if you didn't have a shiny. So, yeah. Well over 1,000 to start getting those speed champions up to where a lot of end-game people, or at least speed-focused people, would want them. Quietly, does Shandy not make a difference if used in your automated party? There's a bit to unpack here. It feels like you're using automation only in the background. Quietly. And that's not a thing. You don't have to own it. If you have a core, you can put it in your active party. That's actually the fastest way to level it up, is having it in your active party. Because your active party with speed champions is going to complete levels and thus get experience for your core much faster than your background party. Especially with those speed champions kicking in. So I'm going to change this question. What you actually are trying to ask is, does Shandy not make a difference in background parties or offline progress? Because background parties use a function of offline progress. No, Speed effects on champions don't really work in offline progress. Only their power abilities work. It's just not something taken into account currently in the simulation. So when you want to use speed champions to level up your core quicker, it needs to be in your active party. Just get, when you get your first core, have it slotted in your party and play. And just play. Just go do other stuff. Go complete all the adventures you want to adventure. Don't focus on leveling it up. It will level itself up. But if you're going to go AFK for a while and you just want to throw a speed formation in and automate like Mad Wizard or something to help get your core lots of levels, you can do that with speed champions. It just has to be in your active party. This was a common misconception. Don't feel bad. When multi-party and Modron cores came out, so many people made the assumption that cores were for background parties only. That you automated your background core party with a core, that you didn't use it in your active party. And it took a very long time to break people out of that mindset. But yeah. Cores are for all parties. Chicory Coffee. Why do you rotate across 3 event champs for time gates? Is there a reset or something being reset behind the scenes? Well, not even behind the scenes, directly in front of you. If we go look, I haven't chosen my time gate yet. But if we look at this, you will see these numbers in little boxes here associated with the champions. These are, this 50-75, these are the adventure levels that you have to reach to get the first gold chest and the second gold chest in your time gate. Let's go find somebody that has a higher number. Do I even have any that have a higher number? Oh, yeah. Lucius is at 75, so you'll notice it can go up. But every time you select here's 100 and 125. So this means that I went and I did one time gate at the 50 and 75. And then when you do one, it bumps it up by 50 levels. It bumps up the goal to 100 and 125. Right? And then it would go 150 to 175, and then 200 to 225. But you see, this isn't 200 to 225. What happens is every time you don't choose this champion, it drops by 25 levels. So the reason you do a three champion rotation is so that you bump it. When you do it, it bumps up by 50, and then you do 2 others, and for each of those others that you do, it drops back down by 25. And then you only have to, I mean, you can always push super far if you want, but for favor and everything, but you can then quickly rotate and very easily rotate and get your gear and get out if you're just trying to grab chests. I love that we're just sitting here. There is definitely a bug going on. He should be attacking us and we should be dying. I don't know what's going on. Excalibur Storm should, for my natural time gate, should I choose Neris or Benwyn? I would choose Neris. Neris is a support champion that can be useful in lots of situations. Benwyn is a functional DPS, but you probably already have plenty of those. Quietly, I have at least 3 champions in all slots and up to 5 in a few, too. This is my first time gate where I only had 1 new champion available. When it gets to the point where I have all the champions, how do I benefit from the free gate choices? Well, I mean, the first thing you do is when you open it up, you look from the 3 that you have and you see who still needs epic gear. If they all still need epic gear, if they all still need epic gear, then you choose whichever one you use the most. You find yourself using the most. And see if you can get some more epic gear for them. But at the very least, you're going to get some item levels for them. Once you get full epic like I do, my decision here then is I look at who has the lowest item levels. Looks like these 2 are tied, which gives me an interesting conundrum. Which one do I want to have? Do I want to give more item levels to? Right? And in this case, then I would look and I would see that there's lots of gilding on Korth, but not necessarily. A little less on Benwyn, and I would throw the item levels over here. But that's because I try to keep my champions fairly balanced power-wise. Canellan, does that only apply to manual time gates, or does the free time gate also reduce the adventure level numbers? It should be all time gates. It should be all time gates. Dota 2 Nornex. I need a third hero for slot 5. I have Briv already. Which one should be my third? I'm aiming at Keelik. Sure. You can grab the bird boy. Yeah, I mean, I would either do Keelik or Dadius. As odd as it sounds, I mean, it depends. If you're doing Orkira stacking and you need an extra, and you have Alcoria, and you're trying to maximize things, and you need another DPS that has a magic base attack, Dadius will help ramp up that portion. But if you're just looking for functionality and actual variance, Keelik's probably a more useful choice. I will say I don't use Keelik a whole lot, but when I do, they work. Which is, I mean, the best you can say about a non-best in slot champion. Your new 2259, isn't it basically irrelevant what they cost as long as you could afford it? I think, are we talking about blessings? Yes and no? I don't know. I think we're digging a little too deep into that. The qualifier of as long as you can afford it is basically turning this question into a pointless question. Everything is relevant. Every cost is irrelevant if you can afford it. But the thing is not everybody can afford it. So if some people are very close to getting some blessings and can't because they just don't have enough, I mean, then the cost matters. So, I mean, you can make anything irrelevant by adding on a modifier that makes it irrelevant. But if you look at it straightforward, costs matter. Otherwise, they would just put 0 cost on all the blessings, right? Quietly, does running free play grant silver chests or gold chests on pity timers still for the free time gates? So time gates work differently from events. So we may be crossing a bit of the streams. Events are where you can run free plays to 50 and just cycle those and get a chance at silver or gold chests. Time gates, they will only reward you silver chests and only for reaching unique 100 level thresholds. So the first time you hit level 100, the first time you hit level 200, the first time you hit level 300 in that specific time gate. It will just put a silver chest in your inventory. There is no way to get extra gold chests in a time gate. You just get max 3. 2 from those adventures and 1 from the variant. That's it. Lediath, what are cores and how do you access them? So when we talk about cores, we're talking about Modron cores. It is a functional unlock after you do an adventure called Split the Party. It would look like this. It would say, hey, unlock a new party, blah, blah, blah. And then go do it. One of the rewards is a Modron core. And the other reward is a second party. To unlock Split the Party, you have to have at least 2 champions in every slot. So this is why people are saying, hey, I still need a second champion in slot 3 or whatever. Like, this is why they're asking that, because they're trying to unlock Split the Party, but they also want to get champions that are going to be useful to them. So that's kind of as a newer player, that's one of your first goals, is to try to unlock Split the Party. And that means as you're making choices about what champions you pick up in time gates, you want to keep that in mind. I have a guide for that. I've written one on the subreddit. I also have a video, one up on the Cena Games YouTube. But if you don't have it yet, there's a link to all of my over 100 guides now on the subreddit. Libnock, have you watched Arcane on Netflix yet? Nope. I've been watching Midnight Mass. Whew, it's freaky. I like it. Quietly, is Briv really that good of a tank? I've been gearing up Avalar. Briv is... Not only is Briv a better tank than Avalar, I'm just going to say it, he is. He's also a speed champion, and that puts him as a higher level for a lot of people, because people like their peanut butter mixed with their chocolate, right? They want some speed with some tankiness. But Briv is tanky. I don't consider him the best tank in the game, but he's a solid tank because he can heal himself and the rest of the party. So he can effectively, it's like a delayed damage reduction because he heals himself based off the damage that's done to him. So that makes him a really solid tank for newer players. So picking him up early is good. Yeah. Ultimate Gaming, what are the 3 best champions against armored bosses? Your multi-attack DPS, like Ashara, and 2 really strong supports. Now, I could say a multi-attack champion backed up by Human and Esmeralda, but that they may not be the strong supports you need to remove armor. So this is the Tarrasque is an armored boss. How do we know this? Well, we see all of these segmented health pieces, but we also see this gray shield. You can have a boss and other things that have segmented health but no shield, and those are just hit-based bosses or segmented health enemies. And when you hover it over them, as I'm doing here, we can see their health total. And a hit-based or segmented health regular one would show a maximum HP of 50 because there's 50 segments here. And so any hit over 1 damage would remove a segment. But with an armored boss, we see a real level of health here, E233. We divide that by 50, and that gives us the amount of damage our champions need to do to remove a segment. So yes, if you have lots of damage and you just want to remove segments faster, you can have Human roughly in the middle and have Esmeralda in your formation as well, if that works. And you will just buzzsaw right through armored bosses. But if you have them in but you don't have the damage to remove a segment, then they're not useful to you. And you need to find 2 other supports. Wow, my voice today. You need to find 2 other supports that are going to give you the damage to be able to remove those segments. So a multi-hit DPS champion, not unlike Ashara, and 2 really solid, powerful supports is the best answer to that. But it's going to be situational. Barathrine, are background parties calculated like offline parties? Sort of. If you want a full explanation of how this works on Dev Insights, just this past week, so look at this last Thursday's Dev Insights, David did a full breakdown on the calculation differences between offline progress and background progress. They are similar, but they are slightly different. So he gives a full, thorough explanation. That's from the co-founder of CNE themselves. So go get that there. But what I will say is that they are roughly the same. They use roughly the same the calculations. What they do differently is the speed of the calculation. When you come back from offline, and there's that at the beginning of the game when it's like calculating offline progress. Well, it's working real fast. It's working real fast to calculate all the time you were away. And as quickly as it possibly can without any assets being drawn in the game at all. So it's using all of its overhead, everything that it can, to just do those calculations super fast. So offline, when you're fully offline and it calculates when you come back, that is a much more efficient calculation than when it's calculating background progress, because you're playing the game when it's calculating background progress. And it's checking in. It's doing it every 10 minutes, I think is what they said. It is calculating how far you would go in the next 10 minutes. And then that is when you look at and you see the progress like slowly filling up in background parties. That is based off that 10-minute ahead calculation. It's doing that once every 10 minutes. It's pulling a hard calculation to determine how far you're then going to go for the next 10 minutes. But the full explanation is on the Dev Insight stream. A few more questions to go. We're coming up to the end of our time today. Bear 3. Oh, no, I just asked that one. Sheerholf, what you like in this game? I like the puzzle aspect of the game. I like that I get to use all of these puzzle pieces that are champions to solve puzzles, which are variants. That's what I like. So I like when they give me challenging puzzles to solve. Yeah. Toto Tunorex, some champ achievements ask for complete 3 variants. If they are no longer in events, how do I do it? A new variant appears when you open the gate again, or are they unachievable? Yeah, it's a time gate thing. It's a time gate thing. So every time gate is going to offer you 1 variant. If you've never done a time gate for that champion before, you randomly will get one of the 3 variants that was in their event. When you do that when you time gate that champion again, you will get one of the remaining 2 that you haven't done. When you time gate that champion again, you will get the last variant that you haven't done. And thus, you will get all 3 variants done. There are some bugs with some champions where it doesn't count them in a time gate. And if you've done all 3 and it didn't give you the achievement, you could submit a ticket. They'll try to fix that bug. But yeah, it's done by, basically if they're a time gate only champion, you have to do 3 time gates for them, which you're probably going to do because you'll need to do that or many, many more to get them in full epic. Merrick, when starting a time gate for a new hero on the first 50 area run, how many levels is enough? I'm almost at 100 now. Should I stop at 100 or should I just keep pushing? Keep pushing. I try to just push efficiently on my first run. I don't try to grind it real hard. But as long as you're pushing easily and you're not like having semi-walling and having to farm a bit on each levels, you can keep pushing a bit. But you want to grab as much favor as you can on the first run, efficiently speaking. Then complete it, and then on the one that's the 75, then push that one deeper. And see where you can get. Never farm at your wall more than 30 minutes to an hour is the general rule of thumb. But then on the variant, you just do the variant and you get to its level and then you bail. If you decide you want to get more favor or you think there's one more silver you can grab because maybe you got to 275 on your deep push and you really think that now with the favor you have, you could get to 300, then you could do a free play to 300 and then complete your time gate. But you don't necessarily need to like super grind multiple free plays just to try to get to the next threshold of 100 levels. Flanagan, can you explain Cisaspia's simple infections, spreading spores, and fungal So can you explain Cisaspia is what I'm reading here. Can you explain Cisaspia? Let's go look. Cisaspia is a slot 1 champion. Oh no. Druid. No, there's oh wait. Tyrell. I'm like, who's my other druid? Alright. Okay. So the specialization choices. Now I can't just not have someone in the back. And do I have a warlock? No, I already have one. Alright. Yeah, because I already make us out. Sorcerer? Sorcerer. Will it be enough to still kill things? Probably not, because I lost my... No, yeah, okay, got it. That gives me the bond back. Still not enough to kill things. Still not enough to kill things, though. Oops. We probably die in here. All right, so Cisaspia functions. To understand what the specializations do, you have to understand Cisaspia's base function. Halo of Spores. So she gets surrounded by a torus of necrotic spores. That's a spinning circle of spores. Every second, one of the spores shoots out and attaches itself to an enemy. When enemies are damaged, they take bonus damage for that. And normal enemies can be affected by 1, bosses can be affected by 4, and Cisaspia regenerates a spore every 4 seconds and can have up to 20 spores in her reserve. So this is the core function of Cisaspia, and everything else it feeds off of this. Symbiotic Infection. She uses her reserve of spores, so the ones that are still circling her that she hasn't sent out, to heal or to buff her companions. So it's buffs within 2. It's buffs within 2. Symbiotic healing heals based off the spores that she has in reserve. So she can she sends things out to enemies to make them take more damage, and then based off the number of spores she still has, she buffs the party and heals all within 2 slots. So then we get to her specializations. These are going to change how some of this works, or buff it in a little bit. Simple infection is just going to give you a straight up double damage to symbiotic infection. So it's just a straight up 100% bonus. Spreading spores is different. You now generate a spore every 3 seconds instead of every 4, so you are generating them much faster. That's instead of 15 in a minute, you're now generating 20 in a minute. Sesaspi's maximum reserve spore count is increased to 30. So remember, her buff and her healing are both based on the number she has in reserve, and you have raised that reserve by 10. Okay. Fungal body, the effects of symbiotic infection and symbiotic healing are increased by 200%, but only when her reserve is full. So this is kind of a generic, I don't want to mess with it. Honestly, I don't think this ever gets used, really. Most people will do spreading spores because not only are they regenerating them faster, which allows them to throw them out on as many enemies as possible, it raises the reserve amount. But if you just want to put in Sesaspia on boss levels, say you're hot swapping things in and out, and you just want the maximum bonus against a boss, Fungal Body is a boss nuker because you get triple the bonuses for both the damage bonus and the healing. And you will, as long as the boss is a boss that only spawns with 10 enemies, and that's it, you will get to max and stay there during the boss fight. So you will get the maximum potential bonus. But if it is never-ending spawn boss, then you need to be in spreading spores. So that's how she works. So that's how she makes her decisions. It's all about the spores. And as you'll see, we're loading in lots and lots of enemies here. There are no spores spinning around Sesaspia because every time she gets a spore, she's putting it out on one of these endless spawns of enemies. Whereas if we go to the Tarrasque, if we can kill these living hands, which, well, actually once they spawn, now you'll see she's getting more and more and more. And that's just going to build up and build up and build up because there are no more enemies for her to send them out on. That is how Sesaspia works. That's going to be the end of today's show. If you have more questions, people in chat may have helped, or you can head to the Discord. But we got to get out of here. Streams will return. Oh, the captioning broke. Captioning broke. I think it's fixed now. Streams will return on Monday. Should return with weekly patronage with Lauren on Monday. Remember, Idle Champions Presents Trials of Mount Tiamat is over, so no more TTRPGs on Monday. Womp womp. I don't have any other cold-related songs to throw up, so I mean, I guess I could have done Zorbu's Hate Makes You Cold. That probably would have been good. But this is a Zeraphon thing. So we're just going to do, I think we're going to do the Demogorgon song because if you didn't know it yet, Bardic Inspiration Volume 2 dropped. It's in your jukebox right now. Go listen to this one. This is what we're going to listen to. We're about to listen to the acoustic version, but you need to go listen to this produced version. It's so good. It's so good. But this is the original, folks, and we're going to head out on it. Thanks for hanging out. I will see you next week. Bye.
Hush, little children, and lay down your head while we tell you a story of unending dread about a creature of fire, a creature at war, a prince among demons, sinister to the core. Listen close to my words now as you snuggle in tight of this two-headed monster who devours the night. I'm your longs to break free, inflicting horror and pain, and Hetherata seeks nothing but destruction to reign. When their gazes turn upon you, it brings madness. There is nothing that can save you from their malice. Demogorgon with their baleful gaze will devour the world at the end of days. Demogorgon, the sibilant beast, our multiverse shall be their feast. Demogorgon, prince of the abyss. Demogorgon, deep within the pit. Discarded, forgotten, and left for dead, the imprisoned one grew as their evil spread. When the night comes upon you at the end of the day, keep your eyes shut, don't you dare disobey. When their gazes turn upon you, it's too late. There is nothing that can save you from your fate. Demogorgon with a powerful gaze will devour the world at the end of days. Demogorgon, the sibilant beast, our multiverse shall be their feast. Demogorgon, prince of the abyss. Demogorgon, deep within the pit. Demogorgon, prince of the abyss. Demogorgon, deep within the pit. Hush, little children, and lay down your head while we tell you a story